My media product is a regional listings magazine called Nesh Niche. The genre of the magazine listings magazine are non-conforming and varies per region and magazine. This meant that using conventions of real media products was helpful in making my own magazine creative and original. I took inspiration from different elements of magazines such as The End and Lone Wolf for the stylisation and aesthetic of my magazine. For example, the covers of these magazines are model-centric and focus on being aesthetically pleasing. They often use Laura Mulvey's male gaze theory to dictate their images. For example, Lone Wolf uses a pretty woman on the cover. However, it isn't suited to just the male gaze aspect. The woman has gold leafing covering some of her face and hands, and this plays to the aspect of being unique and creative, which is a general convention of many regional listings magazines. To use this in my work, I used a female model posing to convey a sultry image, with the cover lines of my magazine stating she is a fashion idol. As my cover image is black and white, I use Photoshop to create a multicoloured header stating the model's name, which in turn contrasts the image and distributes the reader's attention. My magazine cover is more generic than my advert, as it uses the conventions of real media products creatively rather than challenging them. This also links it with Carl Rogers' ideal self/ideal partner theory, which follows the idea that the model reflects an ideal person to be or an ideal person to be with to the audience. And this is what I had in mind when I chose my model, because as well as her looks in the images, she also comes across as a powerful and fun woman in her poses in the shot, portraying the idea that is strong and independent and aspirational as well as beautiful. As for the developmental aspect to my media project in comparison to the conventions of real media products, I used a lot of computer software to help alter my images to make them more creative in a way that I wouldn't be able to with just images alone. For example, I used multicolour clipping masks to make a secondary version of my masthead for my ancillary tasks, whereas I used Photoshop to layer my model over the masthead so my magazine could look more professional and layers 3D images as to give the effect of the model connecting with the audience. Furthermore, my media product develops conventions of real media products as it takes different aspects of the magazine and turns them into creative hybrids of ideas, forming a piece of unique imagery by combining and pastiching secondary ideas from other products into a primary idea for my magazine. For example, in my advert I am doing a confetti photo shoot, which combines the colourful brightness of magazines such as The End, but also adds a full element in it, such as the aforementioned gold leafing and Lone Wolf. I chose to use confetti as it gives the connotations of being bright, light-hearted and fun, and it also directly links in with my magazine tagline of Celebrate Fashion. The Celebrate part referencing the confetti and the fun style images. The advert is based around fashion, with the fashion of the models being the main focus, and this again links with real magazine products and adverts promoting music and fashion in particular, often featured in magazines such as Toast and other listed magazines. Finally, in the form of challenging conventions of real media products, my project is minimalistic and focused more on aesthetics, whereas many other regional listings magazines such as Expose, which focus on more text, direct references to more articles inside the magazine, and also uses of plugs on the images. My magazine avoids the generic conventions of magazines by using minimalist text and relying on the main image, which would both help and hinder my magazine. For example, people can be turned off by a magazine that seems to carry lots and lots of writing and information on the cover, which is why I wanted to stick to using the main image and most important factors of text on the cover, those being who the model is, what the magazine is, what it is about, and when it is out. However, when it was made with the idea of being minimalistic and simplistic in mind, it could be seen as bad as it doesn't carry a lot of information, and due to the fact that it is regional listing magazine, specifically the ones I have pastiched, don't have many set generic conventions, it could be potentially hard for the audience to differentiate the genre of the magazine or really understand what it is about. However, I purposely did this in the attempt to pastiche the magazines I have used for reference, such as The End, as it fits into the style and conventions of the magazines I wanted to pastiche. Regional listings magazines are free, so they don't have to work as hard to grab the audience's attentions as most magazines do. This allows them to challenge the conventions of magazine design to be more minimalistic. This also appeals to the student, urban and hipster audiences that enjoy this type of styling, and this audience is the main target audience for my magazine.